This moment is here and now. A Vanderbilt no-hitter.
Welcome to the offseason here in the Nashville Stars franchise. You know, last season, we kind of did what we were expected to do, kind of still in this rebuilding phase. We did lose, actually, more than what we lost in season one, but even having younger players, maybe that was a bit expected. I'm not sure. The White Sox go on to win the World Series. Yasmani Grandal ends up with the World Series MVP. Now, remember, this is huge because, remember, we acquired Kurt Zambrano in a trade, and Chris Paddock gets a ring, but he did not even pitch in the World Series, which is incredible. Now, looking at the awards, Troy Quincy wins Rookie of the Year. Now, I asked for suggestions on what I should do for this, and you guys said I should move him up to a 92 potential, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and do, move him up. He was amazing, 15-8. I don't know why, but every time he pitched, it seemed like our team wanted to win. Everybody else pitched and nobody else wanted to win. And looking around the league, you know, we have some good players. Jorge Alfaro wins a Gold Glove behind the plate. Jesus Aguilar wins for back-to-back seasons. And, you know, one other thing, Shea Whitcomb wins the Gold Glove at third base. That's amazing. I did not even expect that at all. So I think I'm going to give them a boost with their glove. I'm not exactly what, though. But Troy Quincy will get that potential boost to a 92. So congrats to him. He was amazing this year. Now, one thing I always do every year is hand out awards to minor leaguers. Now, let's start with the minor league pitcher of the year. It's going to go to AJ McKnight, one of our subscriber recruits. He had over 50 saves. He had around a 1 whip. He was amazing. He will actually get a +5 in potential and then a +2 in all of his attributes. So that's how I would do it there. Andy, I think it's Pages will get hitter of the year. He had an 866 OPS for the Dodgers. And then looking at other guys, I really could not find anybody around the minor league system, and how I kind of hand these out is I look at the top 50 prospects and pick from there. But I couldn't find anybody that had a better season than Kerry Doss. I'm not being biased here, but seeing what he did, hit 294, a 412 OPS or OBP, 472 slugging, 884 OPS. To me, he gets player of the year. I think it kind of tells you how good of a year he had because he was hitting 3 in the All-Star game at the AAA level and in the World game, in the Futures game, I should say. So that is a pretty big feat. What he will get is a +5 in potential and then a +3 in all of his attributes. So congrats to him. We had some more awards in the minor league system. I believe that in our system, it was Kerry Doss who won minor leaguer of the year, but he's not going to get the boost because he won minor leaguer of the year in the entire minor league system. Matthew Thompson won best pitcher for us, so he gets a small boost. And then Ramon Salgado was a first baseman. He gets a small boost as well. Now let's hop into our exclusive free agents, and the only guys I'm really looking at are Jorge Alfaro and Yasmani Petit. I decided to actually offer Alfaro a contract for 1 year. I could lock him up longer term, but we'll see how free agency goes. And then heading into like arbitration, I mean, I don't really have, you know, too big of quarrels with any of our arbitration guys. I'm going to offer all of them, especially Austin Pruitt, our only all-star. But then Dominic Smith is owed 3.7. I just don't think that's worth it. I'm just going to release him and then release that money so we have that going into free agency. So we have $17 million committed right now, and then looking at our budget going into free agency, we have about $24 million in pending offers. Now the owners have decided to give us a $10 million bonus for free agency this year. So we have $70 million as our player budget now. So that's actually a little bit more wiggle room to spend. So looking at the top free agents, there are a lot of good guys here. But the only thing is, I'm not going to go after anybody that has a qualifying offer made. I want to keep our draft picks. I don't want to lose those at all. And plus, we're like not that close to a World Series to be able to, give that up. But there are a lot of good pieces here, and I want to make a move, like I said, that's going to bring in butts in the stands. The owner wants to see more fans in the stands. And we've had 2 years to rebuild. He likes what we're doing with the youth movement. So we will go after somebody that will help us. Now, our two biggest holes right now are starting pitcher and just a bigger bat. I think that our outfield is kind of up in the air right now. If you look at our outfield, we have some good guys like KFC we will build around. Victor Robles is still a question mark. We have James Wood coming up, but I don't know if he's ready yet. And then we obviously have Odubel Herrera. But starting pitcher is definitely a question mark. Tyler Mahle is the top rated free agent that we could actually go after that makes sense, that doesn't have a qualifying offer made. And he's asking for about $16 million. Frankie Montas is here. He's asking for $14 million. We can afford both of those guys. But I want to make sure that we spend our money wisely here, bring in a couple of guys that will help without spending too much money all on one. So I'm looking at the top guys here, and I'm not a big fan of this class. I think we have some interesting pieces. But I look at the bigger bats in free agency, and I look at Cody Bellinger. He has that qualifying offer made. So, like I said, I don't want to go after somebody that has that. Teoscar Hernandez is a very good option here, but he is 31 years old. I'm looking for kind of the youth movement here. Keep adding to that youth of the team. He only wants about $6 million. This is similar to the Odubel Herrera deal we gave last year in free agency. But a guy that really, really catches my eye is Rafael Devers. Now, the Red Sox are straight up lowballing him right now. A 5-year, about $60 million or whatever that is. In real life, I'm going to keep this contract realistic because the Red Sox offered to extend his contract, gave him a $200 million extension, and he declined it. And I've said a couple of episodes ago that Devers was my number one free agent going into this offseason, and I am going to offer him a big contract. 10 years, $230 million, and I will make sure to backload it because technically we had about, I would say, $30 million to spend going into this free agency, and that would put us right at it. But if we backload it, you can just see the difference. I mean, we're going to save a lot of money. So I am going to backload this contract. It will cost us about $14 million this year. So we pretty much save half of that money, and he will be our first contract offer. So we have about $15 million more to spend. Seeing we have $47 million in pending offers now. And I'm looking at a couple of guys I can save some money on. Jacob McCarthy is interesting. I'm going to look around to see where he came from, but I'm sure he's a draft pick that just didn't get signed. And I'm going to offer him a realistic contract here because I don't want to take advantage of the game. I'm going to offer him a $400,000 contract because he was sitting there in free agency. I want to kind of make it realistic there. So I will offer him that. He would have signed for probably a $60,000 deal, but nobody's signing $60,000 deals in the MLB. So we get two guys that we offer contracts to. I actually go after Kyle Hendricks a little bit, but then I decide to kind of renege on that. I want a veteran pitcher in the rotation. I'm not sure who. Nobody really catches my eye. A lot of these pitchers want a lot of money. Luis Castillo is interesting, but he's had 2 down years. He's kind of on the younger side of 30. Looking at other pitchers, though, all these guys are old, 35, 37. Kyle Freeland is 30. So I decided not to offer any contracts to any starters so far. Josh Hader goes to the Angels on a 5-year, $111 million deal at age 29. Shohei Ohtani breaks the bank. 11-year, $385 million to play for the Phillies. I mean, just straight ridiculous right there. Matt Chapman goes to the Padres. So the West always loads up. Padres, Dodgers. And then the Rafael Devers, the Nashville Stars will sign Rafael Devers to a $23 million deal a year, 10 years. It's going to be fun having Devers. We lock him up. But now we have two big contracts on our team, one at 23, one at 10, Ryan Mountcastle and Rafael Devers respectively. We now have our third baseman of the future. We get our first trade offer of the offseason, Nestor Cortez from the Diamondbacks. He is a solid starter actually, but they want Odubel Herrera. I would have actually accepted this deal if they wanted somebody else, but getting our best hitter, well, I guess second best hitter now, I can't accept that trade. I think Odubel Herrera has been amazing for us in that 1 year he played. Now, I look back at starting pitching, and like I said, I think our option really is to go with a veteran to kind of buy time for Steven Brennan, who was our #1 draft pick in season #1. I think bringing in a veteran is the move here. I'm going to go after Mike Minor and offer him about a 1 year, I'd say roughly like $6-7 million deal, and I will see if he accepts that offer. But then I want to go after another depth bat. Mike Moustakas is here. I offer him a 1 year, $2.5 million deal. He's not interested in that, but a lot of times if these guys do not get offers, we will go ahead and, they will go ahead and accept it. So we will keep an eye on that. I decide to actually re-up the Jorge Alfaro deal. We got some competition for him, so I decided to give him 2 years instead of the 1. So Blake Trinan will sign with his new squad. Jake Flaherty really is the biggest surprise of the offseason. Flaherty goes to the Oakland Athletics, which is surprising because they were the worst team in the MLB, and then he signs with them. Julio Urias goes to the Cubs. Lucas Giolito goes to the Padres, and this was a big free agency for pitchers. Tyler Mahle ends up signing just a 3-year, $47 million deal to go to the Twins. I actually kind of regret not going after him, but it is what it is. And Yasmani Grandal goes to the opposite side of Chicago and signs with the Cubs. So the White Sox deal Kurt Zambrano and do not re-sign Yasmani Grandal, which is very, very interesting. I'm very, very shocked by that. And then Harrison Bader signs a 5-year, $88 million deal with the Mariners. So we still have some money left over. I'd say we have about $10 million more to offer. Jesus Aguilar is here, and I want to re-sign him, bring him back. I thought he was a really good bat, and I kind of regretted letting him leave. So I will try to re-sign him back to a 2-year, about $5 million deal. I will make it a little sweeter and give him a little more than what he's expecting. So bringing back Jesus Aguilar, I think, is going to give us another bat in the lineup. And like I said, it doesn't have to be every day, but I like him at that DH spot right now. Kerry Doss is interesting. I don't know when he's going to be moved up, but it definitely buys us some time there, at least to get him some minor league at-bats before he is ready. I still want to build around this core of young guys, and I look at the Rule 5 draft this year. Last year, we really picked up 2 guys. One contributed in Austin Pruitt, but I don't see another impact player like that this year in free agency, so I will actually decline to draft anybody. I decide to commit to our team. I'm not going to make any drastic moves, but I want to add to the depth of this organization. Now, remember 2 episodes ago, I was talking about the Mariners and Dom Thompson-Williams, and they did exactly what I thought they might do and add another outfielder in Harrison Bader. That adds Dom Thompson-Williams to the trade block. I just like him as a depth outfielder. He's not going to be a starter or anything. If somebody gets injured, he could be, but I need a depth bat off of the bench, a reliable guy, and Dom Thompson-Williams seems like he could be that guy. I decided to offer a couple of minor league prospects in Justin Wood and Gene Miles. We saw what Justin Wood could do last year, and I wasn't too pleased with him, so we will deal him away. But ownership says Devers isn't enough, and we didn't sign another big free agent pitcher. So he gave us a target list. He gave us 2 pitchers to bring some excitement back to Nashville. Kumar Rocker and 1 other pitcher from the Texas Rangers, and that is Jack Leiter, the former Vanderbilt star. He says bring him home. 23 years old. He is the number, I believe, 4 prospect in baseball right now. A potential, 77 overall. He is still developing. and Ryan Mountcastle has not been happy. He was moved down in the order after signing a $10 million deal a year for $40 million total. He is still in his youth. It makes a lot of sense for Texas to add him. They have a lot of budget left. They've signed 3 big free agents now with Aaron Judge, with Corey Seager, and Marcus Semien. Why not add another young bat and possibly make their move in the AL West, because they are fishing for a championship right now? I decide to add Matthew Thompson, who was our minor league pitcher of the year, a big-time arm in our organization. Same age as Jack Leiter, but Jack Leiter is just a little bit further on in his development, and he's a potential, and the Rangers agree. We will bring Jack Leiter back to Nashville to add to the rotation. The biggest trade we've probably made so far in this series. But we're not done. We still need to add some depth to the rotation. Remember, we acquired Mike Minor in free agency. We just acquired Jack Leiter via trade. But we need another arm to go with Kohei Arihara and Troy Quincy. Quincy will definitely be the ace. I'm not looking to move mountains here. But one thing I do want to do is add a solid arm to the rotation. And I look at the Oakland Athletics, who are rebuilding. They are dead last in the standings. They will have the #1 pick for the 2nd straight year. So they need to acquire prospects. And I look at James Kaprelian. I don't know why I struggled to say that at first. James Kaprelian, and I decide to actually deal our #1 pick in season 2, Hank Hirsch. I just didn't like the pick when I picked him. I just didn't think it was anything. Like, I thought that he was an okay blue chip prospect, and I just don't have the time to wait for him to develop. I think he's going to be a fine prospect, and I will give him an attribute boost since he's going over to another team. But I decide to actually go for Kaprelian. Brian Moon is probably the one prospect in that trade that puts that trade over the top, along with Hank Hirsch. I think those two made that trade. Brian Moon was our 6th round pick in season 1, and he's about 62 overall and B potential. So after those 3 trades, here's our rotation, and we fill it out pretty nicely with Troy Quincy as our ace. He will be our ace probably for the remainder of this series. Kaprelian will be the 2. Mike Minor and Kohei Arihara will probably be in the middle there, and then having Jack Leiter. And I don't really know if he's even going to be at the MLB level right now. I could keep him at AAA, let him develop until he's ready to make his debut. We could have any sort of lineup here. We have a lot of options. Colin Ozuna, Abdul Herrera, KFC, along with Dom Thompson Williams. I really like this outfield rotation. Throw in Victor Robles as well. Those 5 outfielders will really have good rapport with each other, I think. I think it's a good rotation. And then now we add an anchor in the infield, Rafael Devers. It's going to be interesting because now I'm moving Shea Wickham over to shortstop. So he got a gold glove at third base. He now moves over to shortstop. I did give him actually a boost in his fielding. I think I gave him a +5 in fielding because of the gold glove. And then adding Jesus Aguilar to the mix as well, going back to first base. I think that's amazing. I'm glad I brought back Jesus Aguilar. He was one of my favorite players in season 1, and I let him kind of play out that contract. So I kind of made it realistic. He has no bad blood with us. So I decided to go ahead and make a deal with him, and see what we can do going into season 3. I'm excited for this team. I think the depth here is the greatest asset that we've added here. I think that's what we've been missing, because when guys go on cold streaks, we don't really have guys to cover them, and that's something that maybe we can do here in season number 3. The youth movement is still intact. Let me know what you guys think of the Jack Leiter trade. I'm excited to bring him to Nashville, and I think it was actually kind of realistic, to be honest with you, trading Ryan Mountcastle and our top minor league pitcher in the organization. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. Season 3 is coming soon. I'm going to have a spring training episode just highlighting some things and talking about the guys that you guys submitted that will get renamed to prospects as well. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. Stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.